Congrats to the Obama administration on finding a guy who's been interviewed by a half a dozen media outlets, sits outside in a cafe in Benghazi, waving to the drones overhead, flipping him the bird. But now the Benghazi terrorist Khattala is finally on a slow boat to New York. Is he being interrogated, and by whom? With me, Vice President of the Soufan Group, terrorist interrogation expert and former special agent in charge of the NCIS Global Support Field Office, Robert McFadden. All right, good evening, Robert. How do you know he's being interrogated, and by whom?
Well, it's been reported quite a bit in the media, and
you told me in the break that you actually spoke to someone.
I had a brief conversation with a colleague who was actually part of the investigative team.
Okay, let's talk. Who is interrogating him on the boat?
Well, it's hard to tell right now, you see, because this is a continuation of the hybrid approach here, where it's driven by the U.S. intelligence community. You had the special operations warriors as part of the grab, and an FBI investigation. So it could be individuals from the intelligence community or the FBI. Typically, though, Judge, in a case like this, one of the biggest tools going into an interrogation is information. So the FBI, the JTTF in New York here, has been investigating ever since the Benghazi attack. And I know there's been a tenacious investigation since that time. So typically...
Okay. All right. But so how did they get him to talk, and what are they looking for right now? They're not looking for the Benghazi case per se. I assume they had enough evidence to convict the guy, or else they wouldn't have brought him here.
Right.
Correct?
That's correct.
So what are they talking to him about, and how did they get him to talk?
Sure. First and foremost, when you have a high-value detainee, it's all about current intelligence. It's about walking it backwards from the time he was grabbed, about plots underway, who's involved, co-conspirators, communication nodes, the things that speak to national security interests in breaking up threats and protecting lives. Of course, the Benghazi attack of utmost importance, that will definitely be dealt with, because there may be current intelligence involved with, say, Ansar al-Sharia or the brigade that Abu Khattala himself had formulated. So all those things tie in together.
How can you really get information out of someone who is a hardened terrorist who basically, I don't want to talk to you. You don't use force anymore, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So how do you get them to talk if they don't want to talk?
Yeah. Well, never use force. It was never a part of my training.
You're one of the ones who believe that has nothing to do with valuable intelligence.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So how do you get them to talk? There's a range of different things depending on the individual or why he might talk. Depends on motivations, depends on what his state of mind and emotions are. Is he fearful? Is there some anxiety about the unknown? Or I've had experiences in the past where you have an individual ideologically motivated, like an Abu Khattala, who wants to tell his story. He wants to show that he's a man of action and a big deal. Maybe a little bit rare, but it's a whole range of different reasons why they talk.
All right, so let's assume that you get them to talk. And you're confident they're going to get him to talk?
Yes.
All right, how do you assess whether or not what he says is a load of crap or whether he's telling you the truth? How do you know?
Sure, really good point. In a setting like this, which in a lot of ways it's optimal, you have a whole support team there, including intelligence analysts and experts, FBI, Defense Department, CIA probably. They have access to all source intelligence plus a copious file of documentation. There's a lot of questions that are asked early on that would be a bellwether as to whether he's telling the truth or not. So throughout the interview in this setting, there's a constant validating and vetting and then confronting him when he's off track about the truth.
All right. Robert McFadden, thank you so much. Good work in the USS Cole investigation. Very seasoned investigator. Thank you for being with us.
Judge.